And action.
There are two things with making Birdsong. On the one hand, you have how prestigious and the reputation of the book, which is something that has, it's an extraordinary piece of work. Sebastian Faulks is a genius. Of course, you also feel the responsibility of playing one of these men who went through the extremity of what happened in the First World War. Although Stephen Wraysford is a fictitious character, elements of this story were found in many people's true lives. So we did feel that in order to pay one's respect to that, you felt like, perhaps more so than any other job I've done, you really needed to research that world.
When we all arrived in Budapest, and we watched a lot of documentaries and read a lot of books, and we looked into the Battle of the Somme.
For me, perhaps the most important research that I did with Joseph Moore, and we went over to France.
So you've got the frontline trench running along here.
Right. We're taken to this area where no man's land was flagged up. So you had the British trenches and then the German trenches, and this idea which is referred to in the film of how close they were.
And all that stuff you read about people saying, "Morning, Fritz," and across, being shouted across.
Anything they're cooking in that frontline trench there, you can smell in that trench there. And vice versa when the wind's blowing that way.
You sort of got this sense of the claustrophobia of the proximity of that world.
It does look a little bit nerve-wracking there, but once you get inside, it opens out.
We were taken down this tunnel which they'd only found a few months ago.
Is this what you imagined?
No. What was extraordinary about it was almost like an ice cave. It was chalk, it's bright white, very, very quiet. It was actually very peaceful.
Peter Barton put his torch on this little bit of white chalk which has not been touched for 100 years. And there, written in pencil, was this beautiful poem.
In this place you are
detained.
If in this place you are detained, don't look around you all in vain.
But cast your net and you will find
that every cloud is silver-lined. ... still.
We might be able to...
Absolutely extraordinary.
It is.
It's a miner presumably writing about the fear of being stuck down there, which of course is exactly what happens at the end of the film. But in this moment, he's still writing about the notion of hope. That certainly stayed with me and Joe and was something that we clung on to.
Trying to balance the epic vision of Abby's script with the emotional intensity of it. And so creating a location that allowed us to have great, powerful vistas of war and destruction, but also allow you to put a human being right at the centre of that was very important.
We did the trenches for real on a huge plain outside Budapest.
It's always a great privilege when you're an actor to arrive on a set like this.
We didn't have to act the scale in the trenches. They had built a massive trench.
This is the entrance to the main communication trench up to the reserve trench. We shipped chalk in because it was white. Nearly 300 tons of rubble was brought in. We used reclaimed timber and about 3,000 sandbags. We used signs. They would go down to the local countryside and rip bits of shops and basically make a much more kind of shanty town experience. And here we are in the latrines. One bucket up over the top. We had about 60 to 70 trees that were already dead. They were all specially placed.
When you get dirtied in makeup in the morning and you come up here, you feel grubby all day. It's perfect.
There were explosions and stuff going off yesterday as well.
Action! Ready!
You get smacked in the face with mud and then smacked in the face to this side, and then you have to hit the ground.
One of the ways that war has been filmed recently is to shoot it with lots and lots of different cameras from lots of different angles and to cut it really fast. And I felt that people have seen that and in some ways become familiar with that. And what we tried to do was to concentrate on the emotional journeys of people moving through these events.
And I fear that I may never see you again.
And to film it very beautifully.
We've done a lot of crane work. We use technocranes, cranes which have a hydraulic arm and can sort of push forward, suck in and sweep through space and give you a feeling of floating.
How can we just watch?
I hope that the camera movement will add elegance and a scale and a surprise to it.
We needed to have more control for the tunnels, and it would be too dangerous to film the tunnel sequences in the real location. So we built tunnels in a studio. They were the same size as the real tunnel, so the actors found it quite hard sometimes to maneuver. But I think then there's a real authenticity, because obviously the tunnelers themselves would have had precisely the same problems.
Everybody nicknames it the octopus because it's got so many tunnels leading off it, and it does lots of different things. You can shoot underneath it.
Get up, get up!
There's tanks of water above it.
The tunnellers are very much working men. So we've gone along the line of giving them utility pattern jackets. Some of the guys are wearing the traditional greyback shirt, sleeves rolled up, braces draped down below the trouser line, a uniform jacket, the Gore Blimey winter cap, for example, and their little gas mask PH helmet wallet.
We've got everything as authentic as we can possibly muster and imagine. And the costume, as you can see, is woolly, and it's baking.
I did a lot of research into where I could get the authentic uniform, and in Poland they still have the skill and the looms to weave exactly the wool fabric that they would have used then. Suddenly you think these young boys could easily be really the boys going over the top and being shot, and it was really quite a poignant moment.
Audiences are familiar with the First World War being a wet, rainy, dark, muddy experience, and actually the reality was the opposite. The men were hot, it was dry, and they were covered in dust as well, because the land around the Somme is primarily chalk.
It's looking good, actually.
Philip wanted to take that image of the Somme, and actually he wanted to bring a kind of a contemporary feel to it.
Hey, quiet everyone out please guys, we'll light the black smoke.
He used Afghanistan. Helmand province was an image that he wanted to kind of recreate that feeling.
One of the most exciting and challenging aspects of making Birdsong has been, you know, you have almost like three films. You have the trenches, you then have the underground world of the miners, and you then have a sort of epic love story period piece in 1910 in France.
Action!
It needed to feel different, it needed to feel romantic and passionate and of its time. In contrasting it with what we had shot for the war, a less brutalised Stephen, a much more flattering, softer light, and a richer colour. We looked at some Millet, we looked at Rossetti. Deep midnight blues, rich greens, golds and reds, and they're very soft and subtle together in the costumes and everything.
The blue dress. Well, I've had it a long, long time. It's original. It really is a museum piece.
Souvenir, if you please. Attention.
You kind of feel like it's going to fall apart the minute we stop shooting, but it's been wonderful to be able to wear it.
It brought us very close to experience something and explore the ideas of what went on and how we can best represent it and experience it to our best ability and honour the people that went before us.
I hope that it's an epic story in every respect, and I hope what people bring out of this is an understanding of the continuance of, you know, human themes of love and joy and resurrection and endurance, really. You know, that what these people went through, it was worth going through, and we are the people who benefit from that.